Welcome to the Self-Growth Nerds podcast. I'm your host, Marie, a courage coach, creative soul, and adventure seeker. Since through hiking the Pacific Crest Trail in 2019, I'm on a mission to help you embrace your most confident self so you can achieve your dreams too. If you're eager for deep conversations, big questions, and meaningful connections, join me on the quest to discovering how we can create a more magical and memorable life. Hello, nerds! How are you? I hope you're doing really good. Today, I want to talk about a subject that's dear to my heart because it's been a struggle in my life many times in the past, but I've come mostly 95% to terms with this. So, what to do when your partner or someone that you love in your life is not into personal growth. Obviously, I love everything related to the human mind and how to raise your consciousness and psychology. All of that I find fascinating. And because I find it all fascinating, I'm always surprised when people are not interested. And especially the number one person in my life. Not that my partner is the number one person in my life, but they're the person I spend the most time with, right? I'm like, what? You don't think this is like the most important topic you should learn about? And so what happens is I try to force feed them the information. I remember an example of how it shows up is sometimes I'm in the car with Ollie and we're like, oh, should we listen to a podcast? Yeah, okay, sure. Let's listen to a podcast. And so I put one of my personal growth, not one of my podcasts, but a podcast that I might listen to. I start playing it in the car and Ollie's like, Marie, can you play something that we're both interested in, please? It's like as if basically if you would have put some metal music on, knowing full well that I hate it. I'd be like, hello, you're not alone in here. Can you play some music that we both enjoy? But it's me thinking, oh, really, he should listen to this. He should be interested. And that, my friends, is what we call having a manual. And it is not very evolved. So we might think we're into personal growth and have this idea that we're just a little bit superior because we've, understood things. But having a manual of instructions for how our partner should be or how our friends or our parents should be is disempowering for us because our emotional well-being relies on them following the manual. And so we're dependent on their behavior for how we feel. If they follow the manual, we feel amazing. And if they don't, we feel tense. We feel annoyed. We feel angry. So the bigger your manual is, the longer your list of expectations, the more likely you are to be disappointed. You're giving all of your power away to other people. What we want to do instead is turn the focus onto you because you are the only person that you have control over. So let me give you a bunch of examples. If you are thinking that your partner should be interested in personal growth, you want to turn the spotlight to you and ask yourself, okay, what part of my growth am I avoiding? Where am I not taking responsibility? Where am I afraid of going all in? When I focus on the ways in which my partner should be better, what I'm actually doing is avoiding looking at the ways that I could be better in my own life. Whenever you notice that you're spending a lot of energy on someone else, you're probably projecting. So you want to figure out what you are projecting. If you think, so-and-so is not ambitious enough, they're lazying around, wasting their time, you want to replace judgment with curiosity. Oh, okay. What's this trigger telling me about me? Maybe I haven't given myself enough time to rest. Let's say you meet someone who doesn't care about climate change. You might think, oh my God, that's scandalous. Scandalous. The energy that you put on being angry with them is energy that you don't put in fighting for the climate change that you care so much about. Instead of thinking everyone should care about this, take that energy and channel it into what you are doing. And it might also point to the fact that you need more rest. When we're angry about people not caring enough, it might highlight the idea that we're caring too much all of the time, and we need some time to let go and take care of ourselves. Okay, another example. Let's say your mom is calling you all the time, or your dad is sending you super long emails, and you think they should respect my boundaries. They should know about what boundaries are, and they should respect mine. They should speak in I instead of speaking in you and attacking me, but they don't understand. I'm like the subtitle, the belief underneath all of that is, I'm better. I'm better. I respect other people's boundaries, and I speak in I. I'm going to explain to them. The truth here is, you're not respecting your own boundaries. Don't pick up your mom's calls. Don't make a fuss about your dad's long emails. You don't have to answer them. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. But don't blame other people for the areas of your life where you're not taking full responsibility for your well-being. Okay, we love to do that. Now let's go back to your partner or someone in your life not being into personal growth. Obviously, you are, since you're listening to the Self-Growth Nerds podcast. Okay, and if you're like me, you'd love everyone to be into it. Wouldn't it be fun if all our conversations in life, instead of being small talk and talking about the weather, we could talk about this stuff, right? It would be amazing. Now, think about this person in your life that you wish had different interests, that you wish was into personal growth. How would you feel if they did? That's a really important question. And I'm going to take a guess at your answer. You might say, I'd feel seen. We would connect. I'd feel connected to them. These are valid needs, okay? And you can take responsibility for those needs by going and finding friends who you can connect with on nerd out about personal growth with. You can find different ways to connect with your partner. Look, if I could snap my fingers and make some magical wish that tomorrow my partner would wake up and he'd be like, let's listen to Brené Brown. I'd do it. But then he wouldn't be who he is. He wouldn't be free to be himself. I'd be shaping him to be who I want him to be in order for me to feel good. So I think questions to ask ourselves that are much more important are, what does this person bring to my life that I enjoy? Who am I when I'm with them? Do they allow me to be myself? What do they add to my life? Consider also the ways in which they might be approaching their own growth. They might not do it the same way that you do. They might not listen to podcasts. They might not read self-help books. They might not work with a coach. That doesn't necessarily mean they're not growing. Maybe they grow through the pursuit of a sport Maybe for them, it's about learning about history. Maybe for them, it's about getting better at their job, developing their skills, becoming a better chess player. All of these things are about growth. That being said, though, if that's not the kind of growth that you want them to be into, you can get a different partner. You can go ahead. If it's a non-negotiable for you and you absolutely want this, go ahead. But don't make it mean that they were less than or that they were wrong for being this way when it's just about you having a personal preference. Take full responsibility. And instead of finding the best partner that ticks all of your boxes and manages to fulfill all of your needs, I find that there's so much more power in trying to become the best partner. Okay, I'm going to say that again. Instead of trying to find the best partner, try to become the best partner. If you think about it, there is a much bigger growth opportunity in that. In asking ourselves, okay, how can I love them exactly as they are? How can I actually, instead of expecting them to fulfill my needs, how can I fulfill my own needs? Instead of living vicariously through them, how can I create a life that I'm so turned on by, that I'm so excited about, that I don't need them to provide excitement for me? I just need them to be there to share the excitement with me. And last thing I'm going to share before I let you go is that doesn't mean you can share your interests with them, okay? But instead of force feeding your personal growth podcast, bringing it with something like, you know what? It would mean a lot to me if we listen to this together. Just this once. I think you might find something interesting in there. Just don't hang your emotional well-being on whether they do it or not. It's a bonus. I get so excited if Ollie's gonna watch a romantic comedy with me, because I know it's not him. I know he's doing it to spend time with me because he wants to get to know me, and I really appreciate it. But that also means if I want to be a good partner, that I'm gonna, ask about his video games. Even though I'm not personally interested in video games, I'm interested in him and getting to know him. And that's what becomes possible when you drop your manuals. When you drop your manual for how your partner should be, you get to discover how they actually are. When you drop your manual for how your mom should be, you get to discover who she actually is with all of her flaws and all of her strengths. It takes you out of a self-righteous way of being and into a more open, compassionate, curious way of being. And I think we would all benefit from spending more time there. And by the way, none of what I'm talking about today applies to you if you're in a relationship where there is emotional, psychological, or physical abuse. So if you have an inkling of a doubt that there might be violence in your relationship, you can go to thehotline.org, and there's a section called Identify Abuse. You can read that and see if it applies to your relationship. Personally, I was in a relationship in the past where there was psychological abuse, and I didn't know it while I was in it. All I knew was that I felt nervous all the time. And it showed up with symptoms like constipation. My body was telling me something's not right. So if you sense that maybe your body's telling you you're feeling like you need to protect yourself in any kind of way, you're feeling nervous around the person, please go check it out. I don't want to go through the list because there's many different things. And this is not what this episode is about, but trust yourself if you have doubts and go check it out. It's theoutline.org. Okay? So that's it for now. I wish you all a beautiful, beautiful week. And who cares if people are not into personal growth? We are. We're having fun, and we can lead by example. Instead of telling people, you should really listen to the self-growth nerds. You get to be like, oh my God, here's what I learned. Here's how this impacted my life. And that kind of conviction is what's going to make people go, huh, okay. I wouldn't have been interested, if you were like, listen to this now. But now I'm curious. Send it to me and I'll see what I think. Okay? There's an important difference. Okay, that's it. I'm like the guest that's never leaving. By the way, to prove the point that I'm the guest who's never leaving, my 4-year-old nephew said something really funny. I think last summer, I was leaving his house and he shouted through the window, I love you because you are going home. And that represents how so many of us feel, I think, when we're like, okay, I've had a good evening, but that's it. It's okay now. You can go. Thank you. Bye. I want to go back to my introverted self. So, okay, I'm going to shut my mouth now. Have a beautiful week. I love you all. Bye-bye. You just listened to the Self-Growth Nerds podcast. Make sure to subscribe and to find me on Instagram at Self-Growth Nerds. If you want individual help developing the confidence to create a more meaningful and exciting life, visit selfgrowthnerds.com today to learn how. Finally, I want to thank my friend Etienne Galano for editing this, and I want to thank you, kind-hearted souls, for growing into your truest, most courageous selves every day and making this world a better, more beautiful place. My name is Marie, and I will talk to you next week.